Hey guys, this is Anastasia, and this is day 2 for my vlog till the light of the year. Tonight I wanted to share a tarot spread that I have just recently learned about and am working with. So this weekend I attended a convention in the Twin Cities called Paganicon. It's this huge convention for pagans. You get to take different classes, go to different panels, attend different rituals, and just learn more about the craft. They have different sects of paganism, so they have like they have courses or classes for heathenism, they have Wicca, they have they've had some Hellenic work in the past. This year they had a woman there who was good, who was knowledgeable about paranormal investigations. It was just incredible. It was such a great weekend. But one of the classes I took was tarot in magical practice, and the woman taught us a few new spreads and kind of some new questioning and such to ask with the spread, and I really was excited to use it. So one of them was tarot to communicate with spirit. So if there is a spirit guide that you feel is around you, or perhaps a spirit that you feel compelled to interact with, or in my situation, a friend of mine and I are going to be doing a cleansing on a theater in Uptown, which is a city just outside of an area outside of Minneapolis. There's a theater and they have a space underneath the theater that they want to open up for events and classes and things like that. And there have been some experiences that they don't feel safe kind of letting people down there. People that they have let down there don't feel particularly good. And there is a bit of a history with the prior owner, so they thought perhaps his spirit was lingering. Maybe we just need a cleanse because there seemed to be a lot of residual. So my friend and I are going to go do that. He is actually going to get to go there tomorrow to kind of feel things out more so than we have yet, and just kind of get an idea of he can actually see energies really well and connect with them in that way. So he's going to go and kind of take a look and map it out and see what tools may be useful. Since I cannot go, and even if I could, I can't really see energies that well, so I wouldn't be much help in that faculty in that way. We'll just leave it simple. So I said I was going to do a tarot read on the spirit and see if I could get any insight that way. So the spread that I did was a 3-card spread. The questions that I asked, I basically shuffled the deck, cut it, and then as I pulled 3 cards at random, I would ask these questions. So the first question I asked was, what is the history of the spirit in general? And I got the 6 of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles is all about material flow. It is about just kind of the cycle that gain kind of goes in, and it does become cyclical, and you don't necessarily know who is the true benefactor, but it's happening. It's constant. It is always there, and that makes perfect sense. The spirit that they believe it may be was actually the owner of the theater prior to its current owner, so it would make sense that a card of wealth and flow would kind of go into it. There's a lot of rumors about the previous owner and kind of, with where did his money go and who actually benefited from it, and that kind of, those kind of questions have been brought up. I'll just leave it at that. So this card hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, okay, good. That's a pretty good indicator that that may very well be who we're dealing with, as well as residual. I know there's residual there. That's not a question in my mind. But if there is one particular spirit, that's kind of pointing to it. The second question was, what is the energy around the spirit at present? And I got the Two of Cups. At first, I was really thrown by this because Two of Cups I often think of as kind of the true lover's card. It is about that warm, fuzzy effect of love. It's that excitement when you first meet someone. It's all about attraction. That's the right word I want. So it kind of threw me a bit because I'm like, okay, so there's some loving going on at the theater apparently. But then I luckily have Tarot for Beginners by Barbara Moore, and because I am a noob at this still very much. And in looking at it, it brought up the fact that, hey, it may not be about romantic love. It could be friendships. It could be a teacher-student type of relationship. It could be artistic involvement and movement there. Well, it's at a theater. There's plays going on. There's a lot of acting. There's a lot of directing. There's a lot of friendships. There's a lot of give and take. And then the point was also made in the book that, it might not even be a person-to-person attraction. It could be a person to something attraction, a hobby, a passion of theirs, especially artistic and intuitive endeavors. Theater is, if you are in theater, like truly in theater, it is a passion. Speaking as someone who was in theater and craves it super, super bad, I miss doing theater so much because it is that passion. It has that attraction. And once it grabs hold, it's hard to let go of that. So it would make sense that this kind of energy is surrounding the spirit at this time, because this theater, I've been there, I've seen things there. It's a great, great theater. I absolutely adore the productions that they put on. It's very experimental, it's fun, it's vivacious, it's great. So it would make sense that would be the energy surrounding it. Now, the last question, what are the spirit's wants or desires? And the Eight of Swords appeared. Eight of Swords it's a tough spot. You feel like you can't really go anywhere. You feel like you can't really do anything. It's almost like imprisonment, but even if you do somehow get out of this situation, you don't have really the flexibility to move. You don't have the agility. You feel clumsy. You feel hindered. You feel like you're kind of running blind. When I pulled this and really sat and thought of it for a while, I couldn't decide for the life of me if this card meant that there was a possibility that the spirit itself felt like it was stuck, and if it tries to leave or move on, it doesn't know where to go, it doesn't know what to do, it's confused. So at that point, it kind of wants this cleansing to take place and wants to move on and wants to get on with it in a way. I would think. But the other, and then it's like, well, of course, then, but the other scenario, I'll go there first. The other scenario is, this is kind of the energy that's being created right now. When people go down into that room, they kind of feel not oppressed. That's wrong. That's a bit dramatic. But they feel watched. They feel uncomfortable. they kind of want to get out of that room, and they kind of are off kilter, and they don't really know where to go. There have been experiences down there that have not been the best of things. So the other scenario is kind of the effect the spirit wants to have on the people that are currently occupying the space. And I mean, with the straight up answer, what are the spirit's wants or desires? Instantly, the second scenario makes sense. It wants to make people feel like they are stuck in the situation. They can't really do anything. They can't use the space the way they want to use the space. They can't really have full control of their theater. They kind of are stuck having to deal with this icky feeling, for lack of a better phrase. But there is something that was gnawing at me as far as, well, what if this isn't necessarily what the spirit wants or desires, but this is how the spirit is feeling? What if I'm not under... The fact that other thought process even came to my head when I pulled it, when the answer is so black and white, clear as crystal, kept me kind of going on and on and on. So I set that bad boy down and I went, okay, when I am in a sticky situation like this with tarot, when I'm kind of looking at it going, okay, well, this card can mean this, or it can mean this, and I can't really get a definitive on the card, I will pull another card kind of as an indicator, kind of like as a tiebreaker. I pulled the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords, I'm going to grab the book because the way I look at it is very much just a personal interpretation. It's very reminiscent, but I want to get the correct info here and not just me spitballing. So Three of Swords. Truth can be a wonderful, liberating experience, but it also can deeply wound. The Three of Swords is that very situation in 3 stages. Something has been learned, said, or revealed that is cut to our very core. The immediate pain is felt. Then there is recognition that the wound is fatal, at least to a certain aspect of our existence. Something has been stabbed, and it is not likely to heal. Betrayal is often associated with this card, not because it is illustrated or represented in the card, but because it is the people we know and trust who can hurt us most. At the core of this card, it is about sorrow being caused by knowledge. So I again kind of sat there and went, all right, well, that's interesting. But that I'm not sure where that's going, what that's meaning. So I cut the deck again. And then I got the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is about withdrawal, taking some time out to regroup, needing some quiet time, kind of letting the dust settle. And usually when the dust settles, you'll find that the problem has taken care of itself. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so my feeling after I kind of went through all this, here's the history of the spirit. Makes sense. Here is the energy around the spirit externally. Makes sense. Here's what the spirit wants. It wants to retain its power. It wants to kind of continue having influence over the area around it. He doesn't necessarily want the people that have the building now to proceed with their plans. He kind of wants to keep running things the way he had been. Pain through knowledge. For me, I feel as though if these three are true and it's the way I'm thinking it is and it's who I'm thinking it is that spirit that I'm thinking it is, there may be a certain amount of knowledge he is not aware of. As a spirit, I don't know that we're necessarily aware all the time of the lot that we currently have before us. I have ghost hunted before. I have had experiences before. There are spirits that I believe are fully aware that they are dead, and there are some that are not aware. And as things started playing out with the cards, I felt like maybe he's not aware. Maybe that is why he's kind of upset and kind of trying to be controlling and perhaps a little bit oppressive, even though that's a bit more dramatic than I care to use. So then maybe the cleansing is going to give him more knowledge than he's quite prepared for, even in a non-corporeal sense. However, after that, the dust is going to settle. There's going to be some time of withdrawal, some quiet, and things should come around after that. Now, when I kind of laid those out and I had that feeling, this was the progression, this is kind of representing what happens after the cleansing, I pulled one more card just to make sure. And I got another swords. The Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is a gift, an unexpected opportunity, a moment of fortuitous possibility. The aces show up when the time is right for action, but we must act quickly as these moments do not last. Whatever is initiated at this time has potential for success. The ace contains all the airy energy of all the swords. The energy is manifested in several ways: intellect, truth, communication, logic, decisiveness, and it is excellent for problem solving, decision making, and any logical or philosophical endeavors. The Ace of Swords is a tool that helps us cut through confusion and helps us see our way more clearly. It is a powerful gift and can be dangerous. Truth can hurt, words can sting, and new ways of thinking can turn worlds upside down. The card itself doesn't speak of the outcome, only the inherent power. At its core, it is an opportunity for a new way of thinking. So, when I read that made me feel like, at the end of the day, the cleansing is going to be successful. It is going to clear the way for new ideas, development, energy to flow. And what the current owners do with that energy is completely on them. I don't know why, but when I started doing this, and I had every intention of kind of showing my deck and doing this, then that, the other thing, because I have to do a vlog daily. It's part of the dedication. But as the cards started unfolding and things kind of got weirder and weirder and more kind of insightful, and I had to start kind of going off of my intuition more as opposed to, well, the book says this and the book says that, it hit me, this really is a great entry for a vlog. The way I look at a vlog is it's like a journal entry, right? So it's a lot about me just kind of looking and rambling and figuring shit out. And I'm not great with tarot. If I have enough books, I can usually figure it out. But this is probably one of the first times I've done a spread pretty off the cuff and pretty much just kind of adding to it as I go. And the more it unfolded, the more complicated it got, yet the more clear it became at the end, the more I felt I was on the right path. At the end of the day, I feel like the spread has been very helpful for my question at hand. And I think it also showed me that if I have questions in my spiritual practice, excuse me, like everything else, you can ask for some clarification. You can ask for some help. Pull another card. Meditate. Do some journaling. Do some doodling till something hits you that A plus B is equaling C in this scenario. Because deep down we have it within us. And that's not something I admit to very much in my own practice. There's a lot of times I look at my intuitive practices and go, no. I can make some cool things, but otherwise it's all research. That's what I do. I'm a nerd. And, people that are really intuitive, I'm just in awe of them. It's not that I'm not intuitive. It's not that I don't have that capacity. It's that I let myself, holy cow, I let my self-doubt rule me. And the minute I second guess something is the minute I lose that power. In this scenario, as soon as I drew that 8 of Swords, I didn't doubt it. I just wasn't sure because I had, well, it could be this way or it could be this way. Something is telling me that it might be this other way, and that's what caused me to draw the next card. And then when I drew that card, I was getting a pretty clear picture, but why not draw another card? And then finally the last card. And as I looked at the whole array, especially the last 4 cards being all swords, when I was pulling from extreme different areas of the deck, there was no way that the deck just wasn't shuffled enough or anything. It was all over the place. It really shows that there is something to divination. And that if I just calm down a little bit, and instead of trying to make everything make sense and rational and logical, I can see something that is really kind of cool and magical play out in front of me, and I can prove to myself, maybe not necessarily to anyone else. I'm sure there are people that actually are beautiful with their tarot cards, and if they're watching this are probably cringing, going, oh my God, you're an idiot. That's not at all what the cards are saying. That's not at all what the cards are meaning, blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you, here and now, while I sit here making this video for, oh my God, it's probably going to be a half hour by the time it's done. I'm so sorry, guys. As I'm sitting here doing this, it's becoming more and more clear to me that my answers are all here. And I think that's a really good thing to learn and to have gained over this dark of the year. Part of what I was going for was learning from the quiet, gaining knowledge and being okay with it. And I think a great piece of knowledge is understanding that sometimes logic doesn't have all the answers, and we have to go by intuition. And we have to just let magic play out sometimes. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I hope this was informational. I hope this was interesting. I hope this wasn't too rambly, and I hope it means something to someone other than myself, but if not, I think it was still immensely helpful for me to get on here and share. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there after, 25 minutes of me rambling about tarot cards. Blessed be. Bye, guys.